Hello and welcome to First Impressions, where I play the first 10 minutes of every Nintendo game ever made. So I'm going to start off this series with 1942, and prior to diving into the game, let's talk a little bit about the gameplay. So, 1942 is a vertical scrolling shoot-'em-up made by Capcom, and it was released to the arcade in 1984, and was subsequently ported over to the Nintendo Entertainment System. The game is set in the Pacific Theater of World War II. The goal is to reach Tokyo and destroy the entire Japanese fleet. Must have been interesting for the developers at Capcom to make a game where you destroy their fleet, but the player pilots a Lockheed P-38 Lightning dubbed the Super Ace, and the player has to shoot down enemy planes to avoid enemy fire. The player can perform a roll or vertical loop. During the game, you can get power-ups, and at some point you can get escorted by multiple planes, but let's just dive right in and take a look. This is 1942. Oh god. Well, the sound effects definitely leave a lot to the imagination. Oh, that's just horrendous. Doesn't play too bad though, as far as vertical shooters go. I was never a big vertical shooter guy as a kid. You know, it takes a lot of hand-eye coordination, and this game came out when I was probably, I don't know, like a toddler. So this definitely was not my go-to. I do remember playing 1942 in the arcade. I remember playing it in the arcade, and I don't remember it sounding like this. This sounds like a bad Atari game. At least I'm not doing too bad. Oh god. It does get a little intense, I'm not gonna lie. But this roll is not bad. It's actually a pretty fun game. The aggressiveness of this audio track is a little disturbing. Oh, I can't do any more loops. You must only be able to do a certain amount of loops per run because I cannot. That button to do that does not work anymore. Alright, I got the big one. Oh no! Last 32 stage. That must mean first stage. I hope that this isn't starting me from the very beginning again, because I feel like I made some good progress, although I'm happy about getting the power-up. Because without the power-up, this game is a lot more difficult. Whoa! It's really crazy, like, how slow you move from side to side on the screen. It's kind of like Space Invaders. You know, like a lot of the vertical scrolling games that are out now, you just whip back and forth. Like, that being said, there's tons more going on the screen, and there's lots of crazy things happening, but still, it would be nice if it was a little bit more quick in terms of that ability to move from side to side. Beat the first level. Aw, yeah. I'm intrigued to see how far I can get in this. I feel like throughout this process, I should at the very least begin to get better at Nintendo games. Unless I do that. It's like, spoke too soon. As soon as I mention it, that's when I die. I'm definitely not the best Nintendo game player in the world. There was a time when I wasn't too bad at StarCraft 2. When I invested far too many hours of my life into playing that game. And I keep forgetting that I can do this loop thing and get away from the guys, but the other part too is when you do that, you're not killing things on the screen, so when you come back up, there's just more guys you have to deal with. Whoa. I think that they made a few sequels as well to 1942, which I would assume, at the very least, I hope that the soundtrack and the audio gets better. That's the biggest complaint I have, actually, is just how bad this audio track is. That's like the only song you get is that right there. Dun, dun, da, 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 da. It's just a bad whistle. It's like they found the whistle sound effect when they were going through all the different MIDI channels, and they were like, that's the sound. That's the one that everybody wants to hear when they're playing 1942. And then it just loops. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I feel like... I don't want to say I'm getting better, because every time I do, I just start to die. So we'll just say that I'm playing comparably. Jeez. Well, I hope that all of the games that I played during this process are as fun as this, because this is actually quite enjoyable. Albeit a little monotonous. Oh yeah. 75%. I'm assuming that's how many guys I killed? Oh. I gotta take full advantage of a song when I hear it, because they are limited, as we've heard. Oh god. That's just horrible. I would almost prefer silence, but in order to, you know, give you the true experience of what it's like to play this, I need to make sure that you hear every single dun 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 dun. Come on. There's a lot of button mashing involved in these types of games. You know, you really gotta deal with the... Oh, here we go. Oh, another power-up. Oh, nice. I actually got some ships to help me out here. Ships. I got some planes to help me out here. Oh. Can they also do the loop? No, just me. Although, I don't know if that means they are still protected or... Another one! Nope, that didn't do anything. I'm assuming that was more planes, but I already had planes. Ah. Shooting down. 00364. Is that how many planes I shot down? Percentage 75. Well, it could be worse than 75%. Sure, why not? I'll continue and play a little longer. Yeah, it's a pretty fun game. Oh, man, that audio track is really not enjoyable to listen to. And the amount of button mashing gets a little bit hard on the fingers, you know. Turbo controller is definitely the way to go. But I guess if you want to do this like au naturel, you can just keep pounding the controller over and over and over and over and over. I didn't say I was good at Nintendo games. I just said I was going to play every Nintendo game. Come on. There we go. There's probably tons of people that have played this and beaten it, and they're watching me do this right now, and they're saying, "You're horrible. You suck at Nintendo. Give up now." But that's not the point of this. The point of this is to play every game that I always wanted to play from when I was a kid. You know, I used to go into the video store as a child, and you'd see tons of games. And you wouldn't be able to rent them all. And usually you'd rent one for a weekend, and if it sucked, you were stuck with it. But, you know, now that I have an opportunity to play all those games, I think it'll be kind of interesting. And maybe other people out there also are intrigued to see what these games were and, you know, what they were all about. I remember, like, as a kid, you know, my favorite Nintendo games were, you know, obviously the Mario series and Punch-Out, and I was a huge fan of Kirby. That was one of the last games to come out on the Nintendo Entertainment Console, Kirby's Adventures, and that game was really fun. It was super fun, and it was, you know, from a graphic standpoint, probably one of the best-looking games that came out on the Nintendo Entertainment System. I will give this one more shot, and then I'm going to call it. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of games, and, you know, we don't spend enough time, at least in my opinion, sort of looking at stuff and going back and playing the classics. You know, not like I want to get out here and, you know, get an Atari. But I mean, there are people out there that, they do, angry reviews of the hard Nintendo games and stuff like that. Or, there's, happy gamers and punk gamers and all these different type of people. But I just want to check this stuff out and look at it and see what it's like. It's a lot of greens and blues because we're flying over the Pacific, battling things in this game. But it's actually a pretty fun game. I wish I had more time to play games. Even these days, I don't have enough time to, it's always at work and life and everything gets in your way. Oh, come on. Just want to beat this one level. If I can beat this one level, I'll be pretty happy. If I can't, then so be it. Come on. Oh, man. Yep, it's official. I am pathetic at 1942. Think I am on my last life. What's that bar? R3. Is there like a bomb? I know some games like this actually have like a bomb that you can fire, but... And also I keep forgetting that I can do this loop. That was the one thing about, classic games is, you really had to spend time to get good at them, and there's a lot of technical abilities that you required if you wanted to beat them. Well, alright. That's 1942. So thanks for joining me for First Impression, and I hope to see you again sometime. Thanks.